Nation. Thank you for joining us on the Only Nation podcast, brought to you by the Raider Ramble and sponsored by Chucky's Thugs and now Betway. My name is Heidi, but you may know me as Kevlar Prom Dress or even Raider Ladybug. I'm here with Raider Homer and T3 Raider Facts, and we're ready to start talking about some Raiders football together.
Always ready to talk Raider football with you two. And yeah, we've been off a little bit, but we're about to get going again.
That's right. We've been away for a while, but it is the off season. So let's just jump right back in. I'm glad to be in with you two once again after about a month off.
Yeah, I got to knock a little rust free for me, but I'll do my best. I'll do my best.
As you always do.
You will do just fine.
Today on the show, we'll discuss the recent acquisitions to the team, as well as a couple who have either left or are on the move. We'll discuss what's directly ahead for this team and the organization. And then we'll talk a little bit about the upcoming 2022 schedule, what we're excited about, and also some potential problem spots.
Okay, Raider Nation, here's how you can get in touch with us. Give us a call at the Only Nation Podcast voicemail line at 904-701-8667. That's 904-701-8667. You can also check us out on the web at onlynationpod.com.
Here's the latest Raider news.
In the latest news, there has been a lot going on with the Raiders in the several weeks that we've been away. There was the draft, and then the wave of undrafted free agents who were signed. And there were a couple of trades, and of course the recent schedule release for the 2022 NFL season. So let's just pick up and mention the latest additions to the team. The Raiders started the week by releasing running back Trey Regis, signing free agent linebacker Kenny Young, and releasing linebacker Justin Marsh Lillard. By the end of the week, they had traded their 2023 sixth-round pick to the New England Patriots for a 2023 seventh-round pick and backup quarterback for Jarrett Stidham, and said goodbye to backup Nathan Peterman. Again. The Raiders also traded wide receiver Brian Edwards and a conditional 2023 seventh-round pick to the Atlanta Falcons for a 2023 fifth-round pick. We'll talk more about other players during one of our discussion points.
Yeah, it's good to see our front office still staying busy, still making moves, getting ready for the cap money to be freed up on June 1st. These guys have stayed busy. You know, they're moving pieces around for the future. I know that Edwards had some flashes, but there's some players that we signed that I'm excited about. We can get into that here in a little bit. But, you know, it's nice to see these guys still moving, making moves, trying to make this roster better. So, you know, we'll see what happens with Jarrett Stidham, but I like that they brought him in knowing McDaniel's system as opposed to Nathan Peterman. I know that Peterman tried hard, but we need guys that are going to be able to step right in to this offensive system and help get this team better in training camp. And I think, you know, Jarrett Stidham knowing the system will do that.
Yeah, you know, I was shocked and not shocked at the same time about the Brian Edwards trade. I figured that they would at least get him into training camp and really give him a legitimate shot to win that number 2 receiver position. But I think this puts Demarcus Robinson really up there. And I was excited when we brought him in from Kansas City. But we're going to see what Brian Edwards does when he pairs up with Marcus Mariota in Atlanta. And I wish him well. But again, he has a history of being injured. And I think maybe when McDaniels and Ziegler took a look at that, they figured they might want to go ahead and bring in somebody else who could be a little bit more dependable and also stay on the field, because that's been a problem. And, of course, we'll talk a little bit later. But so that 2020 draft class is looking worse and worse by the day.
Day by day by day.
By day.
By day. Okay, here's the list of the players the Raiders have brought in from the draft. The Raiders have signed third-round pick offensive lineman Dylan Parham, fifth-round pick defensive tackle Matthew Butler, seventh-round pick running back Britton Brown, and seventh-round offensive lineman Thayer Munford, Jr. Still unsigned as of right now is fourth-round running back Zamir White, as well as the fourth-round defensive tackle Neil Farrell. The Raiders also signed wide receiver Keelan Cole, linebacker Darian Butler, safety Quincurio Cole, cornerback Bryce Cosby, tight end Cole Fotheringham, quarterback Chase Garbers, wide receiver Justin Hall, linebacker Luke Masterson, running back Sincere McCormick, cornerback McKelm Morrison, tackle Bamadel Olasini, safety Isaiah Polamawa, defensive end Myron Tagliavoa Amosa, wide receiver Trey Turner, defensive end Zach Valkenburg, and cornerback Sam Webb. And as each player stays with the team longer and longer, I will actually get to learn their name better and better.
Boy, they didn't make it easy on you at the onset, did they?
No, they did not.
So what do you think of that group?
It's the same as it is every year. Every team, every coach brings in their stars, their knight in shining armor, their diamond in the rough, and they play them and they toss them out, and then they bring them in, and they toss them out, and they bring them in. Nothing stands out to me right away. I do know that Bertain Brown, they had a little bit of excitement for him, but Zamir White, he definitely has potential. He played as a third down back. He could play all three downs. However, he can't play three downs in the NFL because his blocking just is not up to par. So that's something that he's going to have to be working on. But I think that they'll be definitely working on him with that to get him to a higher caliber of player.
All right, now Parham, I'm predicting, is going to become the starting center by the end of the year. Now, maybe this means Andre James moves to guard. And if Leatherwood could establish himself at the other guard position, the Raiders could then just focus on one tackle spot with a lot of potential depth up and down the line. Now, I like the addition of Mumford in round 7, and I'm really keeping my fingers crossed that Matthew Butler is that young talent that the Raiders have needed to add along that defensive front for several seasons. But I truly believe that the sleeper pick in this draft for the Silver and Black is going to be 4th-round running back Zamir White, even though he's yet to sign with the team.
I'm just going to play to my strengths right now, and I'm just going to go ahead and focus on Keelan Cole. We were mentioning how they traded Brian Edwards, and we would talk about a guy that I really liked, and that is Keelan Cole. He can return punts. He's got the speed. He runs decent routes. He can high point the ball with defenders all over him. You can see that he's not afraid to go in the middle of the field. I feel like he has a lot more playmaking ability than Edwards did, especially being able to return punts. That's big. We've been looking for a really good return guy since Harris left. So we need this type of player to come in and really step up where we wanted Edwards to be dominant. When it comes down to the cornerbacks that he's going to be facing, I think Keelan Cole will be doing that. When we're 4 wide and he's facing the 4th cornerback of other teams, I think with Devontae Adams and Renfro working their way, this guy's going to come in and do a lot for this team. So I'm excited to see Keelan Cole come in and be a part of this team. Again, though, this front office knows how to make moves. They bring in a guy like a Keelan Cole, and they get some value and some return for Brian Edwards. I'm excited to see what's going on. There's a lot of people that are listed in this little part, but I'm just going to go with what T3 says, when it comes to some of these other players. He does great research. He's been calling stuff left and right that's been happening. So I'm excited to see how this all shapes up, T3, and good luck to your analysis, man, and your predictions. I'm hoping that it all works out like it normally does.
Well, I'm only an armchair quarterback like everybody else, but that's a really good pull on Keelan Cole. That's a guy who really raised a lot of eyebrows, and people were excited about when he was first signed. And it'll be interesting to see how they interchange him along with DeMarcus Robinson. So we'll just have to wait and see what the plan is for McDaniels and Ziegler to get them on the field either together or maybe interchangeable.
Right, and so that has kind of brought us into our number 2 topic, discussing what the Raiders have coming up. As June 1st approaches, the team will get a little more money freed up. So what do we see as being the biggest and most glaring needs for this team at the stage of the offseason?
Well, of course, to me, the most glaring hole is at right tackle. We just don't know if it's going to be Good or Leatherwood or what the situation is. Hopefully not Parker, right? But even though the guy's a good swing tackle, he's more of a backup role. but that's the most glaring hole. So I would think that they would take care of that for sure. Now, one thing I definitely want them to do once this money frees up is sign Renfro. I think that Renfro, and I've said this many times, is going to be the next best Raider wide receiver. He's already got 103 catches as far as the records, right under Tim Brown. His guy, if we can get him signed up and locked down, he's going to continue to break those records. And he's worth the money. So I think that's the number one guy we got to sign because we have competition at the right tackle spot with Leatherwood and Good. There is competition there. So I think that we have enough there. We'll see what happens as far as once cut downs start happening. We might pick up a right tackle that might just steal the show. But I think the most important thing is getting Renfro locked down.
And I'd agree that on the field, I think that Renfro is the leader that needs to be locked down. He is by far and away a leader. And it's time for us to, bring him in, give him a little hug, give him his little varsity Letterman jacket, let him know, hey, yeah, you're here to stay. We are signing you up and we are locking you up. The one thing I will say, though, that I am concerned about, and it is all of this backroom, backstabbing talk that is going on in Raiderland as far as business goes. I don't like it. I'm not saying that the Raiders are going to collapse by any stretch of the imagination. I'm not saying that at all. But I am saying, normally I get a little annoyed, a little confused, like, hey guys, let's ignore that. Let's get back to what matters on the field. But this time I'm actually getting a little concerned, and I do want them to seriously address any issues that need to be addressed and get all the focus back on the ball field.
Well, they're going to eventually have to address it because with the media being the way it is, they're going to pick at this thing and pick at it until finally somebody comes out and makes a statement. Now, I will say that a little over 40 years ago, the Raiders were embroiled in a really, really big controversy where they moved out of Oakland to L.A. And what did they do? They turned right around and won a world championship. So they proved back then that off the field things, if we keep things in perspective and the guys just focus on what's on the field and what's in front of them, they can do it. Now, that requires strong leadership, and I think that the McDaniels-Ziegler program is strong enough to be able to weather that storm. Now, let's see how they connect with the players on that. Now, as far as what's right directly in front of them, if James Bradbury, the corner who was just recently released by the Giants, isn't too pricey, the Raiders, in my opinion, have to pull the string and solidify that defensive back end and reconnect Bradbury with Patrick Graham. Now, we also need to add another tackle, like you were saying, Homer, and at least one edge rusher. Because at some point injuries are going to kick in, and the Raiders just need that solid, proven depth. It may well mean that some quality talent's not going to make this roster, but that's pretty much what you want. And I will make one other comment, too. There's been lots up in the air about what's going to happen to Darren Waller. Are they going to sign him long-term, or are they not? Now, I'm going to make another prediction here. And again, I'm just wearing my GM hat temporarily. I said that they don't sign Darren Waller this year. They let him bank on himself and let him have a ball-out year and have the Raiders get as much as they can out of them this year with the promise that, maybe they franchise him next year, or maybe if he bets on himself, he may end up getting a big deal somewhere with another team. I'm willing to forego that if we can get a championship out of it this year. They've already proven that they're all in, and I would hate to lose Waller, but if we could get a championship with him this year and then he were to walk, I'd be okay with that. Again, I don't want to lose Darren Waller. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that I don't value him, because I think he is one of, if not the two best tight ends in the league. I'm not even going to say top three. I'm going to say top two. But again, as much as I would hate to lose him, I think that we do need to lock up Renfro, and we need to let him bet on himself and have a really, really good year so that he can get that big contract, either with the Raiders or with another team.
Renfro for sure. And I do like the idea of Bradbury, especially considering his connection to Patrick Graham. Bradbury and Rock Yassin, that would be a good little combo, because Mullen really has had to battle injury. So I definitely like to see a Bradbury come in if he's not too pricey. T3, you're right. And then, yeah, I mean, injuries, you always got to make sure you have tackles and edge rushers and all that. It all starts in the trenches, so I'm definitely going to go with that. And then as far as off-the-field issues, I have my take. We don't have to get into it, but this team, I think the majority of this roster has shown the ability to overcome off-field issues. So I think, the conspiracy theorist in me, the tinfoil hat on, activated, believes that this is the NFL taking another shot at the Raiders, trying to get the Davis family out now, especially some of these articles coming out. But yeah, I think that this team is going to be able to just focus on what they need to do on the field. And definitely the front office is going to be able to focus on what they need to do in the front office to get the job done. The Patriots organization face all kinds of controversy, so this is nothing new to these guys. So we'll see what happens, but I definitely think that this team is going to be able to overcome all that. And I'm excited to see what these players do and who rises to the challenge.
And I hate to say this to all the haters, but Mark Davis is not going
No, I don't think so. There's a lot going on, but no, I don't think he's going.
And our third topic of conversation involves the recent release of the 2022 NFL schedule. It has been listed as the 7th most difficult schedule of all 32 teams for the Raiders. But let's talk about this year's 2022 Raiders schedule. My philosophy, hey, play the Chargers twice, play the Broncos twice, play the Chiefs twice. Everyone else, play them anywhere, any place, anytime. You just tell us when. We will be there and we will beat you. That's all what I need to know.
Mic drop moment for Heidi there. The thing about it is, in past years, and this is going back almost 20 years, 2016 being no exception, people would look at the Raiders on the schedule and circle that as a win. They can't do that anymore. I think the Raiders have proven that they have quality talent and they have the ability. And, of course, they are a playoff team now. Before they were a potential playoff team, but now we can honestly say they are a playoff team. Now, when I look at the 2022 schedule, there are two really intriguing things for me on this schedule. First is the game against the Texans, and you're probably scratching your head and saying, why the Texans? Well, they're going to be coming out of their bye week, which is typically not good for the Raiders, and this needs to be a statement game. I believe that at that point, they're either going to be 3-2 or 2-3. I hope better. But they'll have probably either a 3-2 or 2-3 record going into that game. And this is where they can check another box and build up some momentum. Now, the other thing I'm looking at begins in week 11 when the Raiders travel to Mile High. It might be cold, but I don't think it'll be really, really cold. And then after the Denver game, you have a road game against the Seahawks, and who knows what they're going to look like this year, followed by a home game against the Chargers in week 13, and then another trip to L.A., this time to play the defending Super Bowl champion Rams. Now, how they do in those 5 games, I think, the one against the Texans, and then you've got the Broncos, Seahawks, Chargers, and Rams. I think how they do in those 5 games is going to largely determine whether or not they have a shot at the playoffs in 2022.
I'm excited about this schedule. I'm definitely going to be traveling a lot this year, so we got to get our recordings in sometime, to work around that. But I'm definitely excited because I will be at the Hall of Fame game, so I'm going to get to see this new look team in person after the ceremony, or I think just before the ceremony of Cliff Branch entering the Hall of Fame. So I'm excited to be a part of that monumental, Raider going in, because it's been a long time coming, and they're finally starting to bring in these guys that should be going in. So we'll see who else can make it. But then, the other game, of course, going to LA, I think that shows the fans what the NFL does think about the AFC West. There's a lot of changes going on with the Chiefs. They're still the Chiefs. They still got Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid. But, losing Tyreek Hill is a big thing. So I think that everybody's really, especially the NFL, is anticipating the Raiders and the Chargers, and that's why you opened up there. Usually we open up against the Donkeys, but the Chargers are up and coming, and so are we. So I think the NFL is a little excited to have, the Raiders and the Chargers back, that little rivalry. Because remember, the NFL is always better when the Raiders are good. So, we got to beat the Chargers. Heidi was talking about that. Beat the Chargers, beat the Chiefs, beat the Broncos. We got to start out with the division win. So, to me, it's right there. Get that win. Make sure you're prepared for Arizona and go get that win. It'd be nice. I expect the Charger game to be a close one, but it'd be nice to blow out the Cardinals, but definitely had to get this win from the Chargers. Now, New Orleans, that's a game I really want to go to. I love New Orleans. If you ever been to New Orleans during a Raider game, you know what I'm talking about. Raider Nation shows up. Raider Nation loves New Orleans. So I'm excited about that one. Of course, I didn't break it down as far as matchup challenges. I'm just going with the fan approach as what games I'll be. That one looks exciting. And then as well, week 11, I'll be doing a broadcast from that tailgate on Section 105 Media Network. So subscribe if you haven't already. But I'm excited about the week 11 at Denver. That's where I'm at now. And that's going to be a yearly thing. So I'm always going to be excited about that game. And then week 14, going back to our second home again. You know, if we can get 2 wins in that stadium, that'd be fucking badass, right? Just go in there and just own LA like we should. And of course, we're playing the Patriots. You know, some people are talking about this new Patriots rebrand. So it's going to be nice to see the guys, you know, coming from the Hoodies regime go against him and hopefully get a win. It'd be great to start off this new, you know, look Raiders with the win against the Patriots, take away from the old nemesis and beat the old nemesis with some of their ideas and philosophies. So that's going to be a good game. And then, of course, Battle of Vegas, right? Battle of the Vegas, they say out there now. The 49ers, week 17. Got to get this win. The last time we played the 49ers, it didn't quite work out that well, right? We talked about Nick Mullins not too long ago destroying us. This is a big-time game right here. The Bay Area probably wants to see the 49ers destroy the Raiders, but we need to make sure that we get our revenge and get back on track against the 49ers, because when we go back down to the Bay Area, you know, that's going to be exciting the next time around we play the 49ers as well. And then at week 18, I get the feeling that, you know, they always do this, you know what I mean? They put, us facing our division at the end of the year because just as last year when we played the Chargers, it was win to get in. It might be this against the Chiefs right here, too. The 7th hardest ranked schedule. So this could be the game where we have to go in and win. And, of course, it's in Vegas. You know, we've been struggling in Vegas, so it'd be great if we had to win to get in to beat the Chiefs in Vegas. Tough schedule. But I'm excited to go to New Orleans, to go to Vegas for the 49er game, to be at the home opener, and hopefully be in L.A. Raider Nation, buckle up, because this team, you know, we're going to have to face an uphill climb. The NFL is not really going to give us any favors. They want us to be good, but they want, we're going to have to earn it. We're going to have to earn it. And I think that we're going to be able to do it this year. I'm going to go ahead and say we'll go, again, I'm always going to say, I was always saying 10-6, so I'm going to go with 10-7. Like that's where the bar's set. With this roster, we cannot lose more than 7 games. So I'm going to say right at, the low point, the minimum is 10-7, but let's go for the over. Let's get the wins that we need. Let's get a 12-5. Let's get up there to a 13-4. Let's start to not just be a playoff team and finally have proved that we're a playoff team. Let's get to be perennial playoff team type, organization to where we're always going to the playoffs like the New England Patriots did. And, we just re-signed Derek Carr. I'm excited about that. Devontae Adams, all the stuff that we're talking about is coming to fruition and is leading us, I think, down the right path to start becoming a perennial playoff team. So excited. I've said that enough times. I'm going to stop rambling.
Sounds good. How about T3? Do we got another top 3 from you?
Yes, I have a top 3 for you.
Top 3.
T3's top 3.
Here we go. This is this week's version of T3's top 3. Number 1, I love running back Josh Jacobs, and I hope he has a big year in 2022. But unless he balls out and has a Pro Bowl year, this could be the last we see of that young man. The running back position has been so overworked and undervalued over the last few years that it will be hard to see any back get a really lucrative second contract in the near future. Zamir White, if he can stay healthy, just might end up being the new headline of that running back room going forward. Number 2, the Raiders did not draft a quarterback, but they now have one from the 2019 draft. Former 4th-round pick Jared Stidham, who actually has a couple of regular season games under his belt, who comes over from, where else? New England. Now, he may not make the team, and I don't see the McDaniels-Ziegler brain trust keeping 3 quarterbacks on the roster, although it has been talked about. But Stidham knows the system, and this could be a sneaky good signing going into training camp. And then number 3, people have been questioning the 7th round draft selection of Britton Brown, but I will say this. Brown possesses all the qualities of a good backup running back, and I think he has a high value considering where he was drafted. I also believe that he could be a guy who contributes a lot on special teams, which I believe may be his best opportunity to make this team. I will point out the success of another underrated back that the Raiders had, one by the name of Jalen Richard. So keep a close eye out on Britton Brown. And that is this week's top 3.
And it sounds like all of the top 3 is going to be dedicated to the running back room. You know, Josh Jacobs, I do love him. I did not see them keeping him for his 5th-year option. I had hoped that they would. I'd hoped that they changed their mind, but was not surprised at all when they did not exercise it. It's just running backs are so cheap and they're so dime a dozen. Teams just don't want to spend money on it. Like I said, you just need a player that can come in and be successful in certain areas. Zamir White can certainly be successful in those areas, and the areas that he needs to improve on, they will improve with him. As far as Jared Stidham, I actually like that pickup. I really liked Mullins, but I like Stidham too. I think they both could bring a little bit of something to the quarterback room and could make things interesting. And Britton Brown. We'll see what happens. He was definitely the surprise of the draft. I did not picture them picking him up, especially because we already had players on the team that fit his groove. But hey, anything that you can get done for cheaper, for just as well, the Raiders are going to do it. That's the name of the game in the NFL nowadays.
You know, I'm with you, T3. I love Josh Jacobs, but he has to really put up a year in order for us to sign him. And you know what? I've been thinking that he is the most expendable player as far as the more successful players that we have on the roster right now. You know, he has had to face injuries, so if you could get some value out of him by the trade deadline, I can see that happening. You know, these guys, the front office has loaded up and on running back talent, as you were just, surprised that some of these guys are coming in like they are still. But I believe that means that Josh Jacobs is kind of on the bubble, for sure. That's why they didn't pick up the 5th-year option. So I wouldn't be surprised if they made a move before the trade deadline. And then Stidham, yeah, he may not make the team, but again, he's coming in to just compete, maybe help with some of the terminology. Although Carr is great at picking up terminology, you bring in somebody that's inside the system, that Carr's that type of guy. He's not going to be shy to pick his brain. So that might be the situation with Stidham. But you never know with some of these guys that got hurt or had to overcome adversity from one team to the next, Another quarterback that you might think of from New England is Jim Plunkett. Who knows, whatever. You never know what could happen. Now, Stidham is not Jim Plunkett, but, you never know what could happen in this offseason. So we'll see how it goes. But T3, you seem to be right on top of everything, so I'm going to go ahead and just go with what you say on Britton Brown. Keep a close eye on him. Again, this running back room is packed and loaded and ready to go. So it's going to be highly competitive in this training camp, and which I think is what, every team needs and wants. And this front office is making sure that we are competitive, and it's nice to see.
Well, if everything I say is correct, I just want to go on record and say I'm severely underpaid.
Oh, well, we'll work on that, okay? We'll work on that.
Got it.
Now, the correction you have to make is find a place that will pay you.
That's true.
So, give us a call at 904-701-8667. Leave us a voicemail or text message at that number, or send in a message via social media, and we'll share your thoughts. And Raider Roots this week is probably going to be on vacation, so look for Raider Roots to drop next week.
And that will focus on the year 1997. Not a great year in Raider history, but it's on the threshold of a really good year and the arrival of the GOAT, Charles Woodson.
Bah. Bah. Is that a goat? Bah.
That's close.
Bah.
Not the goat, but a goat.
You're right. Goat yoga here on the Only Nation podcast.
Complete with outfits worn by all three co-hosts dressed as goats.
Got it.
Whoa.
And if that hasn't chased you away in terror and you're still listening, why don't we find out how our quiz is doing? T3, do you got a quiz for us this week?
Yes, I do. We have the entire band back together. All right, it's time for another edition of Hey Homer, Did You Know? I get to say that again.
Hey Homer, did you know?
In this segment, I will ask Homer and Heidi and our entire listening audience a Raiders-related question with 3 multiple-choice answers to choose from, so just give it your best guess. Here is this week's question. The Raiders drafted offensive lineman Dylan Parham in round 3 of the 2022 draft. Parham comes from Memphis, which harkens back to the day of the very first player out of Memphis drafted by the Raiders, offensive tackle Harry Shue, drafted way back in 1965 by Al Davis. So here's this week's question. Who is the most recent Memphis player to be drafted by the Raiders? Is it A, Harry Shue in 1965, B, defensive back Michael Stone in 2001, or C, defensive end Clinton McDonald in 2009? Homer, I'm going to give this to you first. What is your guess?
I have no idea. So I'm just going to go with B, defensive back Michael Stone in 2001.
All right, Heidi, what is your guess?
And I likewise have no idea, so I'm going to go with C, defensive end Clinton McDonald in 2009.
And the answer is A, Harry Shue in 1965. Dylan Parham is only the second player ever drafted out of Memphis, and it goes all the way back again to 1965. So I thought this was a fun little nugget. I thought I'd bring that out. So, yeah, Michael Stone and Clinton McDonald were 2 throwaways, and people were probably scratching their heads thinking, did those guys ever play for the Raiders? Clinton McDonald actually did for a brief time, but he didn't make a name for himself. But, yeah, Harry Shue, 1965, was the last Raider drafted from Memphis, not to mention the first one.
You enjoy making us look like idiots.
Yeah, you enjoyed
really
that
do.
way too much, hiding the answer in the question. Come on, man. Don't do that to us again. That's just terrible.
We thought you loved us more than this.
It's the teacher in me. I know something.
Well,
you don't
let's
know.
get that out of you. Let's get that beaten out of you real quick.
Yeah. You're about to retire,
Okay.
right?
I make a promise to you. I'll make a promise to you all that I'm going to give you an easy one next week.
Thank you.
When do you retire?
I have, as of the airing of this show, probably it'll be down to 13 days.
Nice.
Ooh.
Congratulations.
So not long.
Well, even though you've been really mean to us, T3, I would like to thank you for your guidance and lessons that you have brought to the young people of the United States of America and have led them and guided them and taught them and have been a good example for them and have been one of the good guys out there. So we do thank you for that.
Well, thank you. I try, but every day education is a chore for all of us. So I just want to credit and give a high five to all the parents out there, because that's really where education starts, on the front line. So if you are doing all you can for the support of the education of your child, then I thank you as a teacher.
Well, T3, you've taught me a lot about the Raiders, so I know that you do a great job as a teacher teaching the future of America. So thank you for everything that you've done, and I'm glad you're going to be a retiree and enjoying life, because you deserve it.
That just means I'll have more time to torment both of you.
Oh, boy.
I'm sure you'll enjoy it.
Oh, yeah.
Looking forward to it.
And now it's time for Heidi's Heroes.
This week's hero touches on a subject that we've already been talking about. This week's hero is Cindy Stallo, San Diego County of Education's Teacher of the Year. Cindy Stallo, SDCOE's Teacher of the Year, knew in 6th grade that she wanted to be an educator someday, thanks to Mrs. Luff. Mrs. Luff was a creative, kind, adventurous teacher, Stallo explained. She connected deeply with us students and got to know our families. She created a beautiful culture inside of our classroom, and my memories of that year were that school was fun. Mrs. Luff challenged students and met them where they were. I remember as an 11-year-old that her job seemed incredibly fun, and I wanted to have the same impact she had on others. It's that desire to have an impact on students and encourage them to use their voices that made her stand out to the panel selecting SDCOE's Teacher of the Year, said Jill Roth-Tellier, a member of the panel making the selections. Her commitment to increasing student engagement, parent involvement, and community connections made her a wonderful representative for SDCOE as she advocates for our students, families, and educators, Roth-Tellier said. Stallo's first education job was as a teacher assistant for the juvenile court and community schools at the now-closed Barrett High School. There, she realized that there was an opportunity to reach students who hadn't found success in other educational settings. Stallo said they had struggled or failed in every classroom and had been virtually given up on before they came to us. It was then that I decided I not only wanted to teach, but to do so in an environment where I could truly make a difference. Stallo now works as an education specialist at 37 ECB in Normal Heights. Before that, she worked at Reflection Central School, Monarch School, and Hillcrest School. She is consistently advocating for and collaborating with students and parents in a way that fosters inclusion, engagement, and connection, said Gresham Rhodes, principal at 37 ECB. Ms. Stallo infused our site with just the right amount of kindness, energy, and accountability necessary to keep our forward momentum, Rhodes said. I am humbled and honored every day to see Ms. Stallo interact with students and her peers, building strong, lasting relationships. Throughout her career, Stallo has focused strongly on creating extracurricular programs that help students turn their lives around through healthy activities, human connection, and the feeling of success. These include a successful running program, school gardens, CrossFit training, and volunteer work. I truly believe that personal accomplishments and connections with the community drive our students to success in the classroom by connecting them to the best version of themselves and to the staff who are committed to them, she explained. Stallo believes that every student has the right to a safe and structured environment where a teacher creates a community of learning. She empowers her students to drive the learning process. Manny, a student at 37 ECB, said that Stallo deserves the honor of Teacher of the Year because she works collaboratively with students to incorporate their feedback into lessons. She's a really good teacher, he explained. She's always there when you need help. Cindy Stallo, thank you for your contributions to the community and to your students. I can't think of a person who would be a better hero for this week's Heidi's Hero. And I'd like to thank the San Diego County of Education's website for this lovely write-up that I just read. Congratulations, Cindy.
And congratulations. Well earned, well deserved. And Ms. Stallo will get to enjoy the summer off. So, again, once again, congratulations and heartfelt thanks on behalf of all of us here from the Only Nation podcast.
Yes, congratulations, Ms. Stallo. You know, all teachers are heroes in my book. You know, they do great things for the children of America and all around the world. So, Stallo, congratulations. But, you know, shout out to all the teachers around the world.
Yeah, it's the end of the school year, so, you know, teachers, they kind of get, you know, high marks for me right around now. So, T3, Ms. Stallo, you guys are right up there for me.
I'm going to have a very long summer. It's going to last for a little longer than a couple of months.
Nice.
School's out forever.
That was just playing in my head.
And speaking of other things that are going on forever, I would like to take this moment to congratulate Raider Homer and Raiderette Vanessa on their upcoming nuptials.
Da, 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 da,
Congratulations, kids.
da, 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 da. Congratulations.
Very happy for you.
Thank you. Yeah, that was a great time on the field in Allegiant Stadium. Vanessa is very special to me, and she really completes me. I know that sounds kind of funny, a football movie reference, but it is what it is. She is definitely somebody that has helped me settle down, who helps give me direction. So I'm excited to be, with her for the rest of my life. The things that we can do for the Raider Nation and for our family are, without bound, I believe. And there's so much potential. So thank you for the congratulations. We'll be sending out invites.
We are very happy for you. But anyways, thank you both. It's been such a chaotic year trying to be able to get at least a few episodes together at this point. We'll continue to grind out there for you guys. Episodes still probably won't be every single week, but we will be working and we will be putting them together and we will be getting them out to you.
And when the season rolls around, we will be on board.
Amen. Let's see. Homer, do you have a flag to give away
No,
this week?
in the middle of, moving and all that, I have misplaced the flag. So let me find them, Raider Nation, and we will get those out to you.
All right. So we're still unpacking boxes. The flag is somewhere safely tucked away. We just need to locate it for you all.
I am still trying to find my autograph picture of Derek Carr. It is packed away somewhere in my stuff from moving to Alaska 2 years ago. I have no idea where it is.
See? It's not just me.
Yeah, totally.
I think Patrick Mahomes has it up on his wall.
God, please don't say that name again.
He wishes he could be that cool. And that about does it for this week on the Only Nation podcast. If you'd like to help support the show, you can send in a donation at paypal.me/onlynationpod. You can find me, Heidi Stabbert, on social media as @KevlarPromDress on Twitter and Instagram, or Heidi Stabbert on Facebook. You can also find me on YouTube on Captain Jack Rackham's channel every other Tuesday night. I join the GC Went, Peggy Holmes, and Angria Trask on the Captain and His Wenches show.
All right, Raider Nation, you can just search Raider Homer on any of your social media apps and you will find me. Also, go to Section 105 Media Network on YouTube and give me a subscribe right there. And you'll see all the episodes I have where I interview Raider Nation.
May I comment again one time? It is so good to have you back in the fold.
Hey, I just need to get things situated and now I'm ready to go. I know I keep saying that, but I promise I'm ready to go.
Okay. All right, Raider Nation, even though it's the off season, keep up with us and we'll keep you up to date on all the Raiders comings and goings. Send us your name and address so we can send you some free Raiders swag and podcast stickers. Call us and tell us what you want to know. Throw us an interesting nugget that we can use on one of our upcoming episodes and become a part of what we're doing here. Remember, this is the Only Nation and we want you to be a part of it. So call us at 904-701-8667. That's 904-701-8667. Call us now and join the Only Nation podcast family. There are two easy ways to find me on social media. You can send me a tweet at T3_sports703, as several of you do, or you can hit me up on Facebook at Tom, Thom Jones. I also want to thank you all for your continued support of the Raider Roots podcast. We're moving closer and closer to the present. The next episode coming out will be the year 1997. As we mentioned, it wasn't a great year, but it comes right before we add two critical pieces to Raider history. One of them is Charles Woodson, and the other is a head coach named John Gruden.
As always, we look forward to hearing from you, everyone. Until next time, go Raiders.
Go Raiders.
We are not just a nation. We are the only nation.
Raiders.